Hi, young scientists. So here we have two images of coral reef. On the left, we have coral reef A, and on the right, we have coral reef B. And so what I want you to do is compare the two coral reefs for a few seconds, and then you're going to type what differences you notice about the two reefs. Reefs in peril. Just off Australia's northeastern coast lies the largest living structure in the world. It's the Great Barrier Reef. It stretches some 1,200 miles and was built entirely by coral polyps. These tiny sea creatures live in colonies. They build hard skeletons under themselves, forming reefs. These structures provide food and shelter for fish and other animals. Normally, the Great Barrier Reef is bursting with life, but recently the reef has come under threat. So have others like it around the globe. Biologists recently made an alarming discovery. They found that 93% of the Great Barrier Reef is suffering from coral bleaching. That's when the corals that make up a reef turn white. The scientists think many of the corals won't survive. It's the worst bleaching event in history, says Ruth Gates, a marine biologist at the University of Hawaii. Bleaching happens when water temperatures are warmer than usual. Warmer water puts stress on corals. In response, they push out algae that normally live inside their tissues. These tiny plant like organisms give corals their color. This relationship is an example of mutualism. That's when two organisms live together and benefit from one another. The corals protect the algae, and the algae make food for the corals. Corals also capture prey, but scientists believe that algae provide corals with up to 90% of their energy. The algae living in corals can no longer work when temperatures get too high. That makes the corals want to get rid of them, says Gates. When corals bleach, that's the breakdown of their relationship. Without colorful algae, corals' white skeletons show through their clear tissues. Ocean temperatures have been rising because of global climate change. An unusually strong warm climate pattern called El Nino made the problem worse. It affects the Pacific Ocean every few years. The combined effects spell bad news for corals. They caused the longest coral bleaching event on record. It started in 2014. The entire reef ecosystem suffers when bleaching happens. Corals have trouble reproducing. They also become more likely to fall victim to disease. They can no longer support the reef creatures that rely on them. But Gates believes corals can make a comeback. She's found that some types seem to bear bleaching events better than others. Gates and her team are working on breeding these hardier corals. The corals could be implanted into dying reefs in the future. The team is also growing corals in warmer waters in their lab. They want to see if the corals can adapt to higher temperatures. We can give corals a leg up, says Gates. Someday, if we need to, we can put these corals in the ocean to help reefs survive.